COVID-19 wasn't a pandemic. It was the opening shot of World War III. China launched a biological attack against America and the free world using an engineered virus designed to destroy our economy, kill our elderly, and create social chaos. I'm Director James Morrison, and the evidence I'm presenting tonight proves we've been under biological attack for 3 years. What I'm about to reveal will change forever how you understand the events of the past 3 years. The lockdowns, the economic destruction, the social division, the political chaos, none of it was accidental. All of it was planned as part of a coordinated biological warfare campaign against the United States. For over 2 years, I've investigated reports of COVID-19's artificial origins and its deployment as a weapon of war. Tonight, I'm presenting classified intelligence that proves COVID was engineered in Chinese military laboratories as the perfect bioweapon, designed to cripple America while advancing Chinese global dominance. The evidence comes from classified military intelligence reports, intercepted Chinese military communications, and testimony from bioweapons researchers who participated in COVID development before defecting from Chinese laboratories. This isn't about natural evolution or laboratory accidents. This is about systematic biological warfare designed to destroy American power while making China the dominant global superpower through the deliberate deployment of engineered pathogens. COVID-19 was developed as part of China's military bioweapons program under the direct supervision of the People's Liberation Army, PLA, with the specific objective of creating weapons for use against foreign populations. Dr. Sarah Mitchell worked as a virologist for the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, monitoring foreign bioweapons development programs and assessing threats to American national security. What Mitchell discovered was that China's bioweapons program had achieved breakthrough capabilities in engineering respiratory viruses that could spread rapidly while targeting specific genetic and demographic populations. Mitchell documented how the PLA bioweapons program specifically focused on developing pathogens that would be most effective against Western populations while having reduced impact on Chinese genetic populations. The COVID development program used gain-of-function research to enhance natural coronaviruses with characteristics that made them ideal bioweapons: high transmissibility, delayed symptom onset, and selective lethality based on age and underlying health conditions. Mitchell preserved research documents showing that Chinese military scientists engineered COVID to spread asymptomatically among younger populations while causing severe disease in older adults who represent the most politically active and conservative demographic in Western societies. The targeting mechanism was specifically designed to eliminate older conservative voters while sparing younger liberal populations, creating political advantages for Chinese-aligned political movements. When Mitchell attempted to expose Chinese bioweapons development, she was told that discussing foreign biological research could compromise ongoing intelligence operations and result in prosecution for unauthorized disclosure. The Wuhan Institute of Virology served as the civilian cover for military bioweapons development, providing plausible deniability for weapons research while facilitating international collaboration that provided access to foreign genetic material and research techniques. Colonel Robert Hayes worked in military biological defense, coordinating with international laboratories on biosafety and biodefense research programs. What Hayes discovered was that the Wuhan Institute operated as a dual-use facility where civilian research provided cover for military bioweapons development under PLA supervision and control. Hayes documented how the Wuhan facility's civilian research programs were specifically designed to attract international collaboration that would provide access to Western genetic databases and research methodologies. The Wuhan Institute used international research partnerships to obtain genetic material from Western populations, advanced laboratory techniques, and scientific knowledge that accelerated Chinese bioweapons development capabilities. Hayes preserved communications showing that Chinese military scientists used civilian research cover to access American and European genetic databases while developing targeting mechanisms for bioweapons deployment. The international collaboration provided China with detailed knowledge of Western population genetics, immune system characteristics, and biological vulnerabilities that informed bioweapon design specifications. When Hayes attempted to report Chinese exploitation of international research, he was told that discussing collaborative programs could compromise diplomatic relationships and scientific cooperation agreements. American government agencies and private organizations unknowingly funded Chinese bioweapons research through grants and partnerships that were presented as civilian public health research, but actually supported military weapons development. Dr. Jennifer Walsh worked for the National Institutes of Health, managing international research grants and collaborative programs with foreign laboratories and research institutions. What Walsh discovered was that American funding for Chinese research was systematically diverted from stated civilian purposes to military bioweapons development programs. Walsh documented how Chinese researchers used American grants to fund gain-of-function research that enhanced pathogen transmissibility and lethality while claiming to conduct defensive public health research. The Chinese military used a sophisticated funding laundering system that disguised bioweapons research as civilian public health preparedness while using American dollars to develop weapons for use against American populations. Walsh preserved financial records showing that American taxpayer funds were directly used to develop COVID-19 and other bioweapons through research grants that were misrepresented as defensive medical research. The funding diversion demonstrated how China manipulated American generosity and scientific cooperation to finance weapons development that targeted American national security interests. When Walsh attempted to expose the diversion of American funds to Chinese weapons research, she was told that questioning international research funding could interfere with scientific cooperation and diplomatic relationships. COVID-19 was deliberately released during a carefully chosen timeframe designed to maximize political and economic damage to the United States while minimizing impact on Chinese strategic objectives. Agent Michael Foster worked in intelligence analysis, studying the timing and coordination of foreign operations that affected American political and economic systems. What Foster discovered was that COVID-19's release was timed to coincide with critical American political events and economic vulnerabilities that would amplify the weapon's strategic impact. Foster documented how the virus release occurred during the peak of President Trump's re-election campaign, creating maximum political disruption while providing cover for election manipulation and fraud. The release timing was specifically designed to trigger economic lockdowns during the most politically sensitive period in American history, creating conditions that favored Chinese-aligned political candidates and policies. Foster preserved intelligence showing that Chinese strategic planners coordinated virus release with domestic political operatives to ensure maximum economic disruption during crucial electoral periods. The coordination demonstrated that COVID deployment was part of a comprehensive warfare strategy that included biological, economic, and political components designed to achieve Chinese strategic objectives. When Foster attempted to report coordination between virus timing and political operations, he was told that analyzing foreign influence required special authorization and could not be discussed outside classified channels. COVID-19 was engineered to disproportionately affect demographic groups that posed the greatest threat to Chinese strategic objectives, while sparing populations that supported Chinese-aligned political movements. Dr. Lisa Park worked as a population health analyst, studying disease distribution patterns and their correlation with demographic characteristics and political affiliations. What Park discovered was that COVID-19 affected different population groups in patterns that directly benefited Chinese political objectives in target countries. Park documented how the virus was engineered to cause severe disease in older adults, rural populations, and demographic groups with conservative political affiliations, while having reduced impact on younger urban populations. The targeting mechanism specifically affected demographic groups that supported American nationalism, traditional values, and opposition to Chinese influence operations. Park preserved epidemiological data showing that COVID deaths disproportionately affected conservative political strongholds while sparing liberal population centers that supported Chinese-aligned political policies. The selective targeting demonstrated that COVID was designed as a political weapon that would eliminate opposition voters while preserving supportive populations. When Park attempted to publish research on demographic targeting patterns, she was told that discussing population health data could create public panic and interfere with public health response operations. Chinese intelligence coordinated with international pharmaceutical companies and health organizations to ensure that COVID vaccines would extend rather than end the biological warfare campaign. Dr. Patricia Williams worked in vaccine development oversight, monitoring safety and efficacy testing for emergency use authorization processes. What Williams discovered was that vaccine development was coordinated with Chinese intelligence operations to ensure continued social control and population manipulation capabilities. Williams documented how vaccine requirements were designed to maintain social division, government control, and economic disruption rather than ending the biological warfare campaign. The vaccine program was specifically designed to create permanent systems of population control, social monitoring, and government authority that would persist long after the initial biological attack ended. Williams preserved evidence showing that vaccine policies were coordinated with Chinese strategic objectives to maintain social chaos and political division in target countries. The perpetuation system ensured that COVID's strategic benefits for China would continue indefinitely through vaccine-based social control mechanisms. When Williams attempted to expose vaccine coordination with foreign operations, she was told that discussing vaccine development could undermine public health confidence and interfere with medical response capabilities. COVID deployment was integrated with Chinese economic warfare strategies designed to destroy American manufacturing, bankrupt small businesses, and transfer economic power to Chinese-controlled corporations. Agent David Chen worked in economic intelligence, monitoring foreign operations that affected American economic security and industrial capabilities. What Chen discovered was that COVID lockdowns were coordinated with Chinese economic operations to destroy American supply chains while strengthening Chinese manufacturing dominance. Chen documented how lockdown policies specifically targeted American small businesses and manufacturing while providing economic advantages to Chinese corporations and supply chains. The economic warfare component was designed to transfer wealth from American middle-class businesses to large corporations with Chinese financial backing and supply chain dependencies. Chen preserved financial intelligence, showing that COVID economic disruption systematically benefited Chinese economic interests while destroying American economic independence. The wealth transfer demonstrated that biological warfare was integrated with comprehensive economic attack strategies designed to achieve Chinese economic dominance. When Chen attempted to report economic coordination with biological warfare, he was told that discussing economic intelligence could compromise trade relationships and international economic stability. COVID deployment included sophisticated information warfare operations designed to suppress truth about the virus's origins while promoting narratives that advanced Chinese strategic objectives. Marcus Rodriguez worked in media analysis, studying foreign information operations and their impact on American public opinion and political processes. What Rodriguez discovered was that COVID information warfare was coordinated with Chinese influence operations to control public understanding of the virus's origins and purpose. Rodriguez documented how Chinese intelligence coordinated with American media organizations, social media platforms, and scientific institutions to suppress information about bioweapons origins. The information warfare included systematic suppression of scientists, journalists, and researchers who investigated COVID's artificial origins or its deployment as a biological weapon. Rodriguez preserved communications showing coordination between Chinese operatives and American institutions to silence voices that threatened to expose biological warfare operations. The suppression system ensured that public understanding of COVID would support Chinese strategic objectives rather than American national security interests. When Rodriguez attempted to expose foreign coordination of information suppression, he was told that discussing media operations could compromise intelligence activities and interfere with ongoing investigations. COVID policies were designed to implement Chinese-style social control systems in Western societies while normalizing authoritarian government responses to manufactured health emergencies. Dr. Amanda Foster worked in civil liberties monitoring, studying government emergency powers and their impact on constitutional rights and democratic governance. What Foster discovered was that COVID policies were specifically designed to implement permanent authoritarian control systems while using health emergencies as justification. Foster documented how COVID restrictions systematically eliminated constitutional rights, normalized government surveillance, and created precedents for authoritarian control over daily life. The social control integration was designed to destroy American constitutional governance while implementing Chinese-style population control and surveillance systems. Foster preserved legal analysis showing that COVID policies were coordinated with Chinese governance models to eliminate individual liberty and democratic accountability. The constitutional destruction demonstrated that biological warfare was part of a comprehensive strategy to eliminate American political freedom and democratic institutions. When Foster attempted to challenge COVID policies as unconstitutional, she was told that questioning emergency health measures could endanger public safety and interfere with government response capabilities. COVID deployment was coordinated through international organizations that served as cover for Chinese biological warfare operations while providing global legitimacy for attack strategies. Agent Jennifer Hayes worked in international intelligence liaison, coordinating with foreign agencies on global security threats and international cooperation operations. What Hayes discovered was that international health organizations were compromised by Chinese intelligence and used to coordinate global biological warfare deployment. Hayes documented how organizations like the World Health Organization served as coordination centers for Chinese biological warfare while providing international legitimacy for attack operations. The international coordination ensured that biological warfare would be deployed simultaneously across multiple target countries while maintaining plausible deniability about coordinated attack operations. Hayes preserved intelligence showing that COVID deployment was coordinated through international networks that disguised biological warfare as natural pandemic response. The multinational system demonstrated that China had achieved unprecedented capability to conduct biological warfare against multiple target nations simultaneously through international organizational cover. When Hayes attempted to expose international coordination of biological warfare, she was told that discussing international intelligence could compromise alliance relationships and multinational cooperation agreements. COVID. Biological warfare was designed to achieve Chinese long-term strategic objectives, including elimination of American global leadership, destruction of Western democratic systems, and establishment of Chinese global dominance. The COVID bioweapon was part of China's comprehensive strategy to replace American global leadership with Chinese hegemony through systematic destruction of Western political, economic, and social systems. Chinese strategic planners understood that conventional military conflict with America would be costly and uncertain, making biological warfare the preferred method for achieving strategic objectives. The biological attack was designed to destroy Western civilization's foundational principles, including individual liberty, democratic governance, economic freedom, and cultural independence. Chinese strategic doctrine views Western civilization as the primary obstacle to Chinese global dominance, making biological warfare a tool for eliminating civilizational competition. The scope of strategic objectives demonstrated that COVID was not just a biological attack, but an attempt to end Western civilization and replace it with Chinese-dominated global governance systems. Chinese biological warfare operations continue to evolve and expand, with new pathogens being developed and deployment strategies being refined based on COVID's operational experience. Current intelligence indicates that Chinese military laboratories continue developing enhanced bioweapons using lessons learned from COVID deployment while preparing for future biological warfare campaigns. The success of COVID as a biological weapon has encouraged Chinese military planners to expand bioweapons development and prepare for more sophisticated biological warfare operations. Intelligence sources indicate that China is developing next-generation bioweapons with enhanced targeting capabilities and improved strategic impact designed to complete the objectives that COVID began. The preparation for future biological attacks includes development of pathogens that target specific genetic populations and deployment strategies that provide better operational security and strategic outcomes. Despite successful biological warfare deployment, patriotic Americans are developing countermeasures and resistance strategies to protect American society from continued Chinese biological attacks. Independent researchers and patriotic scientists are developing biological defense capabilities while exposing the truth about Chinese bioweapons programs and their strategic objectives. Community-based resistance movements are preparing for future biological attacks while building systems that can maintain American freedom during manufactured health emergencies. The most important resistance activity is exposing the truth about COVID's origins and purpose while educating Americans about biological warfare threats and Chinese strategic objectives. Truth warfare requires citizen journalists, independent researchers, and patriotic Americans to share information that government institutions and mainstream media have been compromised to suppress. Responding to Chinese biological warfare requires restoring constitutional government and eliminating the social control systems that COVID policies implemented in American society. American survival requires dismantling the authoritarian control systems that were implemented under COVID emergency powers while restoring constitutional rights and democratic governance. Constitutional restoration includes eliminating surveillance systems, ending emergency powers, and holding accountable government officials who collaborated with Chinese biological warfare operations. Protecting American sovereignty requires understanding that biological warfare is an ongoing threat that demands constant vigilance and prepared resistance from American citizens. Sovereignty defense includes developing independent biological defense capabilities while maintaining constitutional rights and democratic institutions that can resist foreign biological warfare attacks. America faces a choice between recognizing and responding to Chinese biological warfare or continuing to accept the social control systems that COVID policies implemented. The evidence I've presented tonight proves that COVID-19 was a Chinese biological weapon deployed as part of World War III against American society and Western civilization. Traditional government institutions have been compromised by Chinese influence operations and cannot provide adequate defense against ongoing biological warfare threats. Protection from biological warfare requires citizen awareness, community preparation, and organized resistance to Chinese influence operations and biological attack strategies. Every American must choose between accepting continued biological warfare disguised as public health policy or demanding accountability for the greatest biological attack in human history. COVID-19 was not a pandemic. It was biological warfare designed to destroy American power and establish Chinese global dominance. For 3 years, you've been living under biological attack while being told it was natural disease requiring government control over your life and freedom. I've presented classified evidence proving that China launched World War III using biological weapons while your government either collaborated or failed to protect you. Chinese biological warfare operations continue with new weapons being developed and deployment strategies being refined based on COVID success. Every day that Americans fail to recognize biological warfare, reality increases the likelihood that future attacks will complete the objectives that COVID began. American survival requires understanding that we are at war with an enemy that uses biological weapons while hiding behind international organizations and public health narratives. This is Director James Morrison. China attacked America with biological weapons and won the first battle. The question is, will Americans wake up in time to win the war?